You're making one right decision today. You're listening to Handcuffs and Sage.
Three badass moms bringing you all the true crime and paranormal your heart desires.
I'm Red.
I'm Timo.
I'm Dre. And don't let your kids listen. Seriously, just don't.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Handcuffs and Sage. This is Timo.
And Red.
And Dre.
Yay!
Yay! We're back. We're still in quarantine, so we're still recording remotely. We're using Zoom, so I get to see my girls. I'm so excited.
Yep. Hey! I got some
Red
sun
looks
today.
so cute. What?
I got some sun today.
I know, and you look so cute with your hair up and your little bandana. And
yeah, I'm going back to my retro roots, which I really hadn't been doing for a while, and you know that is who I am. So here I am with the bandana.
Do it, girl. Do it.
Yes. We went hiking today. It was so fun.
I saw that.
It was great. I highly recommend.
Whose dog was that?
That's Violet. Velvet.
That was dog. Velvet? Oh my God, it looked like a brown.
My neighbor's dog.
What?
When did we take another dog?
Okay, I'm like so freaked out because I'm like, it looked like a brown lab. It did not look like a Weimaraner. So I'm like, oh, what?
Oh, it's Velvet. Oh, her favorite thing to do in the world is hike.
Okay.
She loves it. And she's an older girl now. She's slowing down, which is kind of sad, but to see her hike and see her happy, it's everything. I love it.
Aww,
that's a good one. You guys should definitely do it with your families. Oh, it wasn't hard. It was nice weather. It was a pretty easy hike. It wasn't really uphill. And then at the end, there's this amazing waterfall and like a place where you could swim if you wanted to.
Really?
It was amazing. Yes. Yes.
Like there's no swimming or like toxic poisonous water or anything scary like that?
No, it's up in a mountain. It's beautiful. All natural. It's great.
Nobody out there? Was it empty?
We had there was like a family up in the water, like up above us. Mm-hmm. So we stayed away. Right?
Okay.
But we would throw the stick and let Velvet like kind of go in, but we stayed away from people. After we left, we started seeing people come in. Mm-hmm. So we missed the rush, I guess.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Right? But if there had been too many people there, we would have left.
Yeah.
But I made all of us have our masks tied to our shirts in case
right.
we run into anyone. Like I'm really, really trying to be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm so over the mask thing. I cannot breathe. I sweat like a pig.
I sweat really bad too.
Yeah, I hate it. Now I don't even want to go grocery shopping because of the mask. I'm not worried about catching something. Yeah.
It gets so hot, and I have glasses. It's a nightmare for people with glasses. It fogs up your eyes, so you're constantly doing this. Like you're not supposed to even touch your face. You're like, It's awful. It's terrible.
True.
But we're doing it for a reason, right? And I just wanted to share with you guys real quick, and this is really sad. My best friend, Billy, his grandma died today of the virus.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm. And he had mentioned a couple days ago, yes, everyone at the nursing home had tested positive. He was very worried about her. And I know that they're very close.
Right.
And my heart just like, oh gosh, you know, she's so much older and everything. And she passed away today. So that's why we need to be good. Mm-hmm. Right. So many people would say, well, she was older. People in their 30s and 40s and 50s are dying. Right.
Yeah.
So I have friends that are nurses like Dre. I have friends who are nurses who lost patients this week and are traumatized by the look on their face as they died alone. We need to remember things like that, right? I know everyone has different views, and that's okay. I'm fine with everyone having a different view on what to do. I just want, for me and my family, to social distance. I don't want to get sick. I don't want people in my family who, you know, could die from it, right? Because they have underlying issues. So that's what we're doing. But I am open to people making their choices. And I think more people need to be understanding of different viewpoints. It's so scary to me when I see like negative comments and negative names and just like being mean to each other. That's not the point here, right?
Right. Mhm.
Right. The point here is to keep each other safe, be kind, and we can all kind of figure it out in our own way, I think.
Yeah. What do you think about all the people down in Huntington Beach that are just like mass protesting and
I
all that?
understand their anger. I understand. Like everyone's been so affected by businesses being closed. They're angry. I'm angry.
Yeah.
Right? We're not making any money. We're scared. Usually when people act out with anger, it's really because they're scared. We're all very scared. So it makes sense to me that there's protesters, right? I think that businesses should have stayed open. We should have had guidelines as to how to keep them open, how to keep people safe. That's what I think. Right.
Well, we
I
got
think
a
we
mass,
would have saved a lot of heartache doing it
right.
that way.
We got a mass email from our HR director who happens to be my sister, and she basically stated that we're going to like slowly go back into work.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to be working on 2 days, off 2 days, whatever. We're
Yeah,
going to be
yeah.
reseating people so they're not close to each other, and we're going to have to follow these specific guidelines for for the whole day and stuff. So if we have to wear masks, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Oh, you get used to it. I
Really?
wear masks all day.
What kind of
Material
mask?
Are those ones better? Are they breathable, the material ones, or are they the same as the surgical?
So maybe
So-
that's why they're a little bit more breathable.
So they do
Yeah.
have some like cover your cough masks that are a little more easy to breathe in. So what I've been doing is I use they give us like a disposable one every day. If you wear it all day long, it is a little more breathable. It's like paper kind of, but I mean I wear it all day and it's okay. I have worn a cloth mask all day, but I'll tell you what I do is I put like a cone mask inside. Because when you wear a cloth mask, you cannot hear it. It sounds like I'm going,
Right.
you know, like you can't hear the words coming out of my mouth, and then the fabric goes into your mouth.
Right.
So I put like this cone mask. I don't know if you guys have seen them. They're like really rigid, and I'll put that underneath the cloth mask, and so I can reuse that several times because the cloth mask is covering it. And
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I just make make better use of it like that way.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, but it is hard. It's hard, especially like when you're walking in the sun. Like we walk like 10 minutes from our car to our office, and by the time I get there, like my whole face in the inside is just wet with sweat.
Yeah,
you know?
it's so
Really
gross.
Yeah.
You're like, this doesn't seem right or sanitary.
Yeah. Oh, I can't handle it. Yeah.
And they're like, don't touch your face.
I touch my face all the time. Like I'm pulling the mask off and I'm looking around and I'm like taking some deep breaths and like I'm fanning myself and then I stick it back on. Whatever I touch now is all up in my face. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So Red, you took a antibody test and it came back negative, huh?
It did. And so I was super sick. We all know in February, I was sick for 5 weeks. I was so sick that I couldn't breathe at night. My lungs hurt. There was one night I did think, this is it, I'm going to die. Right.
Wow.
It was very scary. I went to the doctor. They did the test where they go up the nose and they said, well, it's not the flu. And at the time, nobody was talking about the virus.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was put on antibiotics. I was put on inhalers. They said, well, maybe it's a respiratory infection. The only way we know is if the antibiotics work, and they weren't working. Right. And so it was a nightmare for me. So I went and took an antibody test. I thought 100% it's going to come back, of course, positive. It came back negative. So, okay. So a lot of people are saying, well, I was really sick and it came back negative. So I was hearing the same thing. I hadn't heard anyone get a positive antibody test, right? So then I was talking to one of my nurse friends and they said they had a patient with COVID-19 tested positive for COVID-19. They then took a test for antibodies and it came back negative. They had to do 3 more antibody tests before getting a positive result. So they're saying the testing for antibodies is not good yet, right? So out of 14 tests, maybe 3 tests are kind of sometimes accurate, which means they're not accurate, right?
Right.
You need a test to be 100% for it to be accurate.
Right.
So at least for me, I didn't have to pay anything for it, right? Hopefully we get to the point where people are saying we have tests that are near 100%. These are the ones to be taking. I will retake it, because to me, you can't tell me which way about it. I couldn't even breathe. It hurt to take a breath, right? I couldn't walk across the room. I thought I was going to die, right? I couldn't walk up my stairs. It was awful. So you can't tell me anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I remember when you called me, excuse me, when you called me that day and you were really upset, like you couldn't even speak a word without taking like a deep breath, and it was pain. You could hear you were so pained. Like there's no respiratory illness that makes you feel that way, you know?
Right. It was awful, and I feel bad for people, you know, who are so sick and who go through it. And it makes sense to me that people are saying this is like the worst flu I ever had, because that's what I thought. I thought this is the worst flu I ever had. The test said this isn't the flu, and I was like, what are you talking about? Right?
Yeah.
Like, I thought, of course this is the flu. I'm dying over here.
Well, if it was COVID, I'm so happy that you made it through and whatever. I know you still say that you still kind of have maybe a little bit of lung damage.
Yeah,
You know, they
absolutely.
say that they think that this went all the way back to November, and you know, all of us were sick and we all didn't know it. So my boys were sick. My youngest was so super sick. And one of the new symptoms that just came out is pink eye. And I took him to the doctor, and then the very next day he got pink eye, and I'm like, holy shit, I think he had COVID. I mean, that's so crazy.
Right. And my son, who is on, you know, the spectrum, as we all know, is not very good at verbalizing what's going on when he's sick, right? He could be deathly ill, and you could say, are you sick? And then he would say, I don't know, right? So that's always been a hard thing for us. And he got sick the same week I got sick in February. And he was so sick that he came to me and he was like, I think I might be sick. I think I might have to miss school, which was like, he never, ever, ever does that, right? He's about going to school, following the rules, right? So that was like, oh, he might be really sick. And he didn't leave his bed for 2 days.
Wow.
So, but he got better and I stayed sick, right? I am immune compromised. So that makes sense to me. I had a harder time working that out. So I'm concerned, though, that they're saying even if you had it, say you have antibodies, that then you could get it again. Dre, what do you think?
I've heard one of my doctors mention that there are like 2 strains. Like, you know, there's several different strains of the flu, that there are 2 strains. But I heard her say it once, and then I never heard her say it again. But it makes sense. You know, it does make sense.
Well,
hopefully,
I heard. Go ahead.
Hopefully, like by having one strain, it does provide some immunity, because like they were saying that the kids are more immune to it because they've had so many different coronaviruses. Like, you know, common kid colds are coronaviruses. They're just different forms of it. So I think like even if there were different strains, I think that people would still have some immunity to that second strain.
Okay.
Well, I watch like Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz, and they like for like weeks now they've been doing like all their episodes on COVID, and they talk to people that have had it, doctors, whatever. And this one doctor came on and said that like with the flu, it rapidly changes all the time. Like there's so many different strands, and it's such a rapid changing virus. Whereas with COVID, it's very slow, almost like the measles or like smallpox or something like that, where it'll be easier to combat it and come up with a vaccine that will hopefully get rid of it. And, you know, because like you don't hear people having smallpox today. And, you know, we have an occasion you know, occasional measles breakout and whatever. But I think that's all due to like those parents that don't want to vaccinate their kids and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we talked about our views on the
Yes, let's
coronavirus.
talk about something fun now.
Yeah. Okay, let's have some fun now. Tiger King episode 4. This was an interesting one. There was some funny moments and some serious moments.
Right.
So I love how this episode starts out. He's obviously doing a music video. Obviously.
I actually like this song that he's singing. I it was kind of like, yeah, it had a good ring to it. I kind of liked it.
It was called Bring It On.
Bring It On, yeah.
Oh my God. So he's in the kitchen and he's got his cup of coffee and he's singing Bring It On. He's starting his day, right? This is obviously how we all start our day, singing with a cup of coffee. And then he's in his truck and he's wearing like this bedazzled leather vest, which is just mwah. And of course the passenger is a tiger. And he's singing to the tiger. We see him singing in the recording studio. It's this whole video. It's just fantastic. I love it. But we know now, was it
no.
And Dre's got a lion.
If you listen closely to him singing in the car.
Thank you. Lion Cub here.
If you listen to him singing while he's in the car, 2 different voices. I mean,
oh yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, what? One thing I don't know if you guys noticed, but like after they showed him in the kitchen, they you could hear the song still playing, but it was like kind of like really low. And then he comes out of the gift shop and it's like loud, and then he closes the gift shop to go to his truck and it like goes back muffled. So it was like he was blaring his song in that gift shop.
I would be shocked to hear him, you know, playing his own music in his gift shop. I don't think he would do that ever. No way. So then we hear from him. He's calling from county jail in Oklahoma in 2019, right? And he's talking about how him and Carol really made money off of each other, right?
Oh yeah.
That they just fed off each other, but because they fed off each other and because they had stuff to talk about, like drama, almost like a soap opera, people were invested and interested in that, right? That was their, you know, give and take with each other. And that made sense to me, right? Right? Just talking shit to each other and people were all about it. So in 2016, we see Howard and he's in this office with all these like filing cabinets, right, in this room.
Yeah.
And he's showing, well, these cabinets over here are covering Joe. And, you know, this little cabinet over here is about Joe and all their legal stuff, all their legal papers that they have, you know, dealing with Joe. I always wonder, like, what about the other filing cabinets? Like, who else you be suing?
There was tons of them. Come on. What are they?
I mean, there's like tons of them. You hear my dogs?
So no, I can't hear him. But let's say the episode, the name of episode 4 is Playing with Fire, which is that can go any which way with this series. Like, okay, who's playing with fire and who's going after who? But it's kind of foreshadowing what happens later in the episode.
Right, absolutely. So they're talking about how with Carol, she's got, you know, the #1 Google thing that comes up, right? Which is huge, right? In this big cat world, someone Googles it and there is her big cat rescue, right? And of course, Doc's talking about it, Joe's talking about, they would want that spot, right? They would want to come up #1 when you Google it. And so, of course, Joe's like, well, I'm just going to change the name to Big Cat Rescue Entertainment. So then when people Google it, he's also getting hits and all that stuff, right? So he put a very similar logo, right? Big Cat Entertainment. It looks very similar to Big Cat Rescue. And then he also uses a Florida address. He's not in Florida. right?
Yeah.
Right.
Right? Obviously. So they sued him for copyrights, of course.
Right.
Of course they're going to.
Well, he also used that snow leopard that was on the Big Cat Rescue website.
Yes.
And then he just made the eyes more piercing and blue, but it was absolutely their photo.
Yeah.
It was.
insane.
It's so crazy.
Oh, Joe.
Oh, Joe.
on.
Joe, come on, Joe.
So he sued. They continue to sue him, and he counterclaims, right? He comes
Mhm.
back. He's like, I'm going to sue you back. So they are being like kindergartners.
Yeah.
Doing this. Right.
Teacher.
Right. And this part is just, ooh, I just love every moment of this footage. Because
Mhm.
he's talking about, why are they having a fur ball over at Carol Baskin's? And it cost $47,000, and they only raised $45,000. And you see people dressed as cats and leopards and tigers. And there's a picture of Carol and Howard in costume, and it's just,
They're
I
twinsies.
love the picture of Carol
Yeah.
so much. Oh, I love everything about it.
Like
I wish I
everything
could
they
have gone to the fur ball.
When he first said fur ball, I didn't get it, and then I was like, "Oh, fur ball, like
Fur
it's
ball.
party." Oh shit!
Quite clever. Quite
Yeah.
clever.
Mhm.
So then we hear, Rick Kirkman, he's saying like, Carol and Joe, they were like the Hatfields and McCoys, right?
Right.
Fighting with each other nonstop. This was going over year after year after year. And you have to think, like, what a negative place to be in all the time,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Like, to be so angry, so full of hate, to be so petty with each other for years and years. I think that speaks volumes for both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, certain types of people are into that.
Yeah. I know quite a few people that are like that, that just will hold a grudge and just will not let go.
Yeah, and that makes
And
me so
it's
sad.
so exhausting and so unhealthy. Oh my God.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that people can get upset with each other and be annoyed and all this stuff. Work through it, right? Work through it. But
Mhm.
going through shit for years and years and years is really sad to me, and that's what they did. Absolutely. So then we have Rick Kirkman talking, right, about
Right.
the reality show. And the deal he made with Joe is, he said, sign this contract. I will do the reality show, but I will also help with your internet show, which is what
Right.
Joe really was like about too, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Handle internet, do the reality show. And Rick makes this statement about Joe having so much confidence, and he's such an odd man. Like, there was no reason to have this.
The
And I
mullet.
Yes.
Well, in
And
his
that's so
own mind, that's how he saw himself. And I think
Yes.
when he just brought Rick Kirkman in, because it's like, okay, I don't have to produce my own show. I have my own producer. So now I can just worry
Right.
about how I look and how I feel and, go
Yeah.
over my lines. And okay,
Mhm.
if someone says, let's bring Joe on set. And here he comes. Da, 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 da.
Right.
He just thinks he's the cat's meow, guys.
Yes, the cat's meow, man.
Unintended.
Oh my gosh. And I've heard before, like, people say people that are like the most confident, like overly confident, have like the lowest self-esteem.
Really?
Yes. And so
Yeah.
I think, because they're compensating for that feeling.
Mhm.
So I always think about that with Joe. He's just trying to be something, but inside he probably feels another way. So
No, you know what I was gonna say is I really loved what Rick Kirkman said when he was like he was asked to do the internet show, and he's like, hell yeah, I'm gonna make $1 million on this reality show. I'll do your little piddly ass internet show.
yeah, I'll do your little pilly ass internet show.
I love the way he said that. It's
Uh-huh.
hilarious.
Yeah.
So of course they make this huge ass throne, right? This red
Right.
throne. For the Tiger King. That's where the whole Tiger King thing came from. Rick Kirkman came up with it, and he said he wanted to be more famous than anything. And when they made this shot of Joe, like introducing himself with the throne, he said Joe just loved this shot and he would play it over and over and over again, like to watch it of himself,
Oh
right?
my God,
Yeah.
so funny.
Oh my God.
Like
So
they hear
he
it
said,
at like 9, 10 o'clock. You'd hear the boom, 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 boom. Hey, you know, whatever. And it's like he's sitting there just repeat.
just loving it,
Yeah.
every second of it.
Yeah.
So then, of course, you know, it was kind of going to his head when the cameras were rolling. They would have their morning meetings. He would like say, I'm going to fire people. And, you know, he was being a real crazy dickhead, thinking
Right.
it was good reality TV, right?
You're fired.
Right. You're fired. And they show like how he had like this blow up doll that they had looked like Carol. They called it Carol. They would shove like a dildo in her mouth, right?
Yeah.
It was so like crazy. And then he's filming, and this part like took me aback. It was like scary to me because it's Joe sitting next to this blow up doll. He's calling Carol, right? And he's talking about what is going to happen to Carol. And he straight pulls out a gun and shoots the blow up doll. And you can hear people in the background going, oh.
Well, he says,
like,
Yeah.
he
Took a
goes,
little
you want to
far
know
there,
why?
bro.
So he's in a show and he's like, you want to know why Carol Baskin will never, ever, 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 he kept on saying ever and ever, see me face to face? And then that's when he turns and shoots it in the friggin' head. Holy shit balls.
that's a scary moment. And they show Carol watching that happen, right?
Yeah.
And if someone did that, right, named a doll after me and then shot it with a real gun, I would be terrified.
Yeah.
I would be. I think most people would be. Anyway, so we hear Tim Stark from Wildlife in Need. He's another one of these, you know, animal people. We've heard from him before. And he's saying, like, everyone was telling Joe to just stop, right? Playing with fire, right?
Right.
What Joe was doing, he needed to knock it off. And Eric was saying, and Eric is one of my favorites out of all the zoo people. I love Eric so much. He was saying, you know, I'm kind of glad, not to toot my own horn, but I was glad during this time I was there at the zoo to make sure that all the animals were taken care of, because Joe was doing the show and was just off doing whatever Joe wants to do and wasn't really running the zoo.
Right.
So Eric was there.
Side note, throughout this whole episode, Joe is wearing this fab 80s leather, like brown leather jacket with fringes and whatever. And then those like buckles, they're like little like Native American kind of like buckle things. Did you notice that there is like there's two of them and they're like placed right where nipples would be on his jacket?
Oh, do you think that's intentional? No way.
I was just wow. I'm like, I wonder how many people actually got that, because I'm like, dude, he has man nipples.
Why were you looking at his nipples?
I don't know.
No, girl.
I don't know.
Are you taking the in the mood pill so you're noticing nipples everywhere?
I haven't made it to Target yet.
All those Disney innuendos are getting there. Now you're looking for everything.
Now you're seeing penises everywhere.
Well, you know, I do have a secret boyfriend. He's always been my boyfriend for many, many years. He's like my celebrity crush that I've had for so long. It's Mr. And if you're listening, let's go out because I love you. It's Mr. David Spade. Like, I love him. I love him so much, okay? Yeah. And people are like gunning for him to play Joe Exotic if they do a movie, and I think he'd be perfect.
My God.
Because he was Joe Dirt, and Joe Dirt was like, you know, 80s. Great. Yeah. So anyways, David Spade does a podcast, and it's called Night something, I forget what it's called, but he has a series of interviews. There's Zoom interviews, and you have to see him on YouTube. He interviews Rick Kirkman. He interviews John Finley with his new grill, and he he interviews Saf, and then he interviews Jeff Lowe and Lauren Lowe. And
I'm gonna check this out.
it's so great. It's so great. Yeah. So
Yeah, David Spade.
oh, and
Love him.
Renke. He interviews Renke as well. So great. I love him. I'm just like, oh, we're doing the same kind of thing, my love.
We're the same. Oh
Yes,
my God.
we're
Oh my
meant
God.
for each other.
Right?
Mhm.
Right?
Is he the one that did the Master of Disguise? Or is that like a different actor?
I don't know what Master of Disguise is.
Oh man, it's a good
Oh
one.
no,
It's
I feel
fun.
bad. I don't know what that is.
Well, he was in Grown Ups. He's done a lot of movies with Adam Sandler.
Well, he was in Saturday Night Live. He was fantastic.
Well, yeah, he's hilarious. Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love him. Okay, so then we have videos of dead rabbits coming out.
No.
Poor
And
bunny.
these little bunnies are all dead and they're covered in the blood. It's so sad. I don't like it at all. It was so sad. And you hear Joe in like a deposition, and they're asking like, in 39 Carol Baskin saga that you did, you covered rabbit killing. And he's like, well, I did 57 sagas, so I don't know what saga the rabbit killing was, but if you say so. 39, he did 57 Carol Baskin's sagas, which is crazy. How many episodes have we done with this podcast?
Like 36?
About 40 something, like
40,
low
yeah.
40s. Yeah.
Okay, and he's done 57 sagas. Like the time and effort he puts into this is just
Yes. Yes.
One person.
crazy. Okay. So then, of course, Joe is taking pictures of men holding stuffed animals in diapers, but putting Carol's head on their bodies. It's very, it's very disturbing. And Carol's like, "Hey!" The picture,
And she has
it is
rabbit
like a
ears.
man in a diaper.
Yeah, and she has rabbit ears on, which is like, okay, that's pretty smart.
And then
She gives them a lot of material to work with her all her little videos. Hey there, cats and kittens.
She even says, and Bobby Joe didn't poop today. It's like,
I know.
really? You're getting $23,000 a week from Facebook because you're telling your people that some cat didn't poop?
I really think about the people that take the time to watch that stuff and keep up on it, and that makes me really sad. I know everyone has their thing, but damn, okay. So then Howard's talking about Joe put out a picture, and he's holding a horse penis after he killed like a horse, and he's holding the horse penis, and he put, "Hey Howard, suck my Captain Morgan." And I don't know kind of what's more ridiculous, Joe doing this or Howard having to say what it says on the post, because Howard is very buttoned up, right?
Right.
Interviews. Then we see a protest in front of Carol's place, of course, right? Of course they're going to protest.
Yeah.
And Joe is wearing a bunny costume with like blood all over it. Right?
The Easter bunny, poor baby.
Oh, God. So then after all this back and forth, sue me, I'm going to sue you, blah, blah, blah. $1 million judgment comes down that he has to pay Carol. He lost, right? Judge threw out the counterclaims. She was on Carol's side about it. Now he's got to pay $1 million, right?
Right.
And so we have a news reporter, and she's kind of talking about it, and she's like, people in this situation who sue like this, in this situation, usually are like making a point, like, now stop, right?
Right.
She's like, it kind of like blew her mind that no, Carol was going after that money. She wanted that money. She wanted that $1 million.
Yeah,
and that it wasn't just a statement. So I think also that screams to who Carol is.
Yeah.
right? She wanted all of his assets,
Right. And she
right?
already has like millions from Dawn.
She does not need
And
his money.
she doesn't
She
need his
just wants
money,
to
but
take
she's
him
so
down.
greedy. She just wants more and more and more and more.
Yeah, I think she
Mhm.
just wants to take him down. She wants him to be a non-equation in this whole big cat rescue situation. She wants him to like not exist, right? So
Yes.
the only way to do that is to like get rid of him financially.
Right. Right. She wanted all the assets. She wanted to take him out. She wanted to get him back for all the neener things he did. Right.
Neener, neener.
She took the semi. She took the tour bus. Joe spent $250,000 fighting her in court.
Well, you know what's funny, Red, is they're interviewing Joe about it, and he's like, I have nothing. That bus over there isn't mine, and those cars out there are mine. I'm not stupid, meaning he
Right.
put those in John's name or, whoever's name. He still
Right.
lost them. He still lost them all.
And I'll tell you why he did. So he has this list. There's a list of his assets, right, that he
Right.
wants.
Mm-hmm.
Things on this list are his watch,
I know.
his bed. So he
Oh my God.
takes these things out and he's blowing them up.
Yeah.
Like, he blows
Remember,
them up, and then they show up to come get these things, and they're blown up.
right. So remember that he went to the ammo shop back in episode 1. He bought his rounds, and then the guy's like, "You need some explosives?" He's like, "Yeah, throw some
Hell yeah, dude.
why not?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's not
I
a
thought you
stranger to
never asked.
explosives. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Which is going to come up in a little bit because there's explosives going on around here. So it's like,
Always.
okay.
Yeah.
Also. So Rick Kirkman, of course, is there doing this whole reality show, and he said that it was craziness all the time. And he said, I just kept saying, roll the camera, roll the camera, roll the camera. I would
Never
also
stop
hear you
rolling,
say
ever.
this. Like, this is craziness. I'm going to make $1 billion on this shit.
You just kept on seeing dollar signs everywhere. Like, just.
I would too, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my God,
It
this
makes sense to me why he thought that.
guy's going to make me a millionaire.
Right? I feel like on one hand, I'm like, oh yes, get crazier, do more stupid shit. But on the other hand, I'd be like, fuck, I gotta deal with this on a daily basis. Like, you're fucking nuts, Joe.
Yes.
I'm sorry, you're crazy.
Yes. And so Rick is at the zoo. He said 24/7, living and working there. I would not want to do that with all the craziness all the time. No, thank you. So he said he was, negotiating with a network, right, to get this picked up. It was going to be good money, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
This was going to be awesome, right? All of a sudden, we see a building on fire.
Yeah.
And we hear, the studio blew up, and it was so hot from this fire that the studio doors came off, right? Exploded. And when this happened, Joe wasn't there. He was at a funeral out of town.
Right.
Right. And so in this building, this is where they kept their alligators, but this is also where they kept their studio.
Right.
Obviously, they're going to keep the studio with alligators.
Duh, come on.
Duh. Okay.
Right.
Right.
I don't think he had much space though. Like when you look at the aerial shots, they don't have much space for anything, and it's very like like cheap. I mean, you saw when Saf was sitting in the junkyard. That's part of their area. It's sad.
They fancy, okay? They fancy. They fancy at the zoo. So Rick said, all the footage from everything was in there, and that he just cried, right?
Yeah.
We see Joe, he's talking about all the alligators dying, but we see him having to do outtake after outtake, thinking of things to say, which leads you to believe that he's not being genuine.
Well, because of that, he's like, all the alligators perished. They were boiled alive. They were boiling alive in a towering inferno. It's
Oh
like,
my God. It's like he's doing this over and over again, right? He's doing it very dramatically, right? Because he's thinking people are watching this, I need to make it dramatic. And then there's John Finley. So John's so sweet. And he's all, my 7 crocodilians died. And it made me sad.
Yeah, that
really.
made me sad.
is that
It
a
made
word,
me really sad.
crocodilians?
I don't think so, but John said it, and we're going to say crocodilians now.
I know, I love that word.
I had 7 crocodilians died. So, of course, they put out a $10,000 reward, right?
Right. Yeah.
They were alluding to Carol Baskins did it. It's Carol Baskins. We need to catch her. Then they show footage, right? This is the person that did it. We see someone like walking like this, away.
Right. A very specific stride.
Very specific stride. Joe's talking about how, oh yeah, there's an email of Carol Baskins offering my producer $20,000 to get rid of all this footage, you know, to set fire and everything. Like, we caught her now, kind of. It just sounds like him bullshitting.
Right.
And then Carol and Howard are talking about how, no, they Facebook messaged the producer, of course. That's how we get a hold of producers. They Facebook messaged the producer, and they said, you know, you don't know who you're working for.
Right.
And we didn't offer him anything, right? So we don't know what the hell happened. So people were saying, oh, we think it was Rick Kirkman.
Right. It looks like Rick. Looks like Rick walking. Yeah.
Looks like Rick walking to me. It looks like Rick's hat to me. Right? But let's talk about why it might not be Rick.
Right. Right.
Yeah, because why would he do that?
Well, he says a very specific thing that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
You know, you want to say it? You want me to say it?
Somebody fucking say something.
Okay. So he says, when it's brought up to his attention that he was the arsonist, he goes, are you out of your fucking mind? That's my retirement that burned.
Yeah. Yeah, he was looking at this as, that's my money. He put all this time and money into this. This was all he had.
And how
sacrificed
long
big time.
He worked on it to this point?
A year,
right?
A year living on that zoo. Yeah.
I don't see myself burning that shit down. Sorry. I don't want to hang out with Joe for more than that, you know?
You always have to say who's gonna gain from this, and we'll talk about why it's not looking so good for Joe, right? So we see John Finley, sweet John, and he's like, you know, I think it was Joe, because, you know, he just so happened to be out of town, like, great alibi, you know, and then this crazy fire happens. So that looked a little fishy to John. And if John's able to put something like this together, I think all of us should be able to put something like this.
Right? Oh, John.
He's so sweet. I love him. I really do.
Yeah. I love him too. And he's a little, wait till you see the interview with David Spade with his new teeth. He's a gorgeous now.
Wait, I saw him with Joel. Yeah, I saw him with Joel McHale. I loved it.
Teeth are all that. Like you can go from zero to hero, like in like just with your new grill, man. Dang.
Well, he still has a funky beard, so
I do him. Oh, maybe not, because he slept with Joe Exotic.
But he's straight.
He's straight, Timo.
That wiener went in some hole over there because he wouldn't have been kept around very long.
It's true. It's correct. So we see Joe. He's talking to someone saying, don't stop recording, right? He's going to go into his lawyer's office for a meeting. And of course he wants it recorded, of course, right? And we hear that a week before he was in an argument with Rick, right? And he was upset because he learned that Rick owned his ass, right? He had a contract. In the contract, he basically said, I can do this reality show and I'm going to help you with all this internet stuff, but I own all this stuff, right? You don't own it. And so Joe got mad about that contract, finding out Rick, he's got it in his pocket. So he goes to this lawyer, and you hear this conversation with the lawyer, right? We hear the lawyer saying, where's the film? And he's like, it's in my recording studio. He forgets to mention there are also Crocadilians in the film, but the lawyer says, do they have copies? Like, hint, hint.
Right.
And the lawyer says, you see what I'm saying to you, Joe?
Yes.
Well, he says, how are you protecting that? And Joe's like, well, what do you mean? And then the lawyer's like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So the lawyer's doing a winky face, right? And Joe says, I do know what you're saying. So then we see Joe walking out to the truck, upset, talking to whoever is recording this. And he's wearing a Tiffany blue shirt with a white tie because he kept it classy for this lawyer meeting, obviously.
Right.
And he's saying, you know, I'll just find someone who wants $10,000 and to make a name for themselves. That's what he's saying. So already from walking outside that lawyer office, he's saying about this plan, right? And how much was that reward? $10,000? Like, come on. We can all put this together.
Yeah.
we can put this puzzle to rest.
Yeah.
God, Rick says, this kind of made me sad. So
really
Rick
sad.
is very upset. He said, you know, he got out of there, right? He said, we're not refilming, right? He's fucking done. Maybe Joe thought he was going to refilm it and they could have a new contract, but Rick said, fuck no. He got in his truck and he said all he had was his truck and his dog. So it's a country song at this point. And they drive back to Dallas and he has a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
So I don't think Rick did it.
No.
Because Rick put all the money and time into it, and Joe was pissed about the contract, and we can hear Joe already formulating a plan to have it go his way. So that's what I think. Yeah. So what's next? Yeah. And so we hear John, and he's talking about how, you know, does he think that Joe would do this for attention and sympathy? Yeah, I think he would do all this for attention and sympathy. So this guy says that he charged Joe only $8,000 to redo this whole building for more crocodilians, and because he cared about the animals, right?
The Crocadilian Pavilion.
Crocadilian Pavilion. And they said this building was like $120,000 building.
Yeah.
Right.
How did you get that deal?
And he said, why'd you do this? And the guy said, well, I did it for the animals. Like, he's like an animal lover, right? And that's why he did it. And so we see like a ribbon cutting and Joe saying thank you to all the people that gave, right, for this building. I mean, where'd that money go that people gave money to? Probably not to the guy.
Yeah, no.
Right? Probably not, but I did think it was very classy that they had little Caesars to hand out at the ribbon cutting. That was very nice.
I saw that.
Right.
I'm a big fan of Caesar's pizza personally, and I'm not shitting you. Their veggie pizza's so good. And it is $9, so it's an upgrade from the $5 pepperoni. You
pay $9 for Little Caesar's pizza?
I do.
Oh, we all make bad choices in life, Timo.
I'm sorry, I love it. I don't, everybody grosses out, but I actually really do enjoy it.
You know what? You love it. We all love things, right?
I feel like Little Caesars, you can only have it if it's really hot, though. You know, you can't have it cold ever, because then you're just eating cardboard.
Yes. I agree 100%. 100%. So we hear that the sheriff, he's talking about how this obviously was an arson fire, right? It was obviously set, but it's a still open case. For some reason, they can't close this one. I guess I should make a call, let them know what happened,
Right.
help them out there, save some time, I guess. I don't know. Just crazy. So then we hear Howard, and he's talking about how they spent $1 million in legal fees.
Yeah.
So they have spent $1 million just going toe to toe with Joe. And this news reporter is talking about how if you've got the money, usually you find yourself going things your way, basically. Right. And so she had more money to spend, of course, on suing. She could do it endlessly, and Joe couldn't. Mm-hmm. And so that's why she kind of got her way here. Poor John. Oh, John. He's talking about how Joe maxed out their credit cards. And so, of course, he was like, well, why don't we put the zoo in your name? And John was like, it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Oh, John.
Oh, my heart. Oh, John. Oh, he should have said, hell no. Absolutely not. And then Joe is taping John, and he's trying to tell him to say on camera, you know, hi, my name is John Finley, and I'm the president of the GW Zoo. And he can't even do it.
Yeah.
Okay, he's trying to. But it's just such a hot mess, and I feel so bad for John. He's so sweet, and he can't see what Joe's doing. So that really bothered me. So then we hear from Chelsea. Now, this is Joe's niece, right? And she's talking about how there's always quit claim deed changes, right? That you can't even keep up. So it's in this person's name. It's in this person's name. Now it's changed here. She said you'd go down to the office, and they would hear who needed the change. You know, Joe's original name, the Sri River Vogel, or however you say it. And that, that the person in the office would take a deep breath. Right. Like, right? Because it's a nightmare. Oh, my God. My heart for whoever was working in office. What a pain in the ass. Yeah, Okay, so we're coming back to how he lost that semi and the tour bus, even though Joe is so smart, right? He put in other people's names at the zoo, but Carol Baskin's lawyers sued everybody at the zoo. Right. Yeah. She sued everybody at the zoo. She got her way, and she got those assets. And then we hear that she sued Joe's parents, which, who hotty ha, I got so upset. I got so upset when I heard that. Because everyone who knows me knows I am obsessed with senior citizens. If they are upset or hurt or crying, I just about die inside. And we hear Joe's mom, and we see her, and she's like crying, and I just I can't take it. It just kills me. She tried to defend herself against Baskin's lawyers. She put hundreds of thousands of dollars, but she ran out of money. She went bankrupt. It was so upsetting to me to see this older couple. They should not have to deal with any of this, right? And they're going through it because Carol wants that money, right? She wants that goddamn money. And they made like a GoFundMe video, and his mom.
Did you catch that? I think it was Renke that was saying that he would just bring something up to his mom. He's like, Mom, I need to pay this person, or Mom, I need to pay this person. And his mom would just, okay, she'd sign the paperwork and let him, you know, whatever. So I'm not saying that, you know, I feel bad for her too, that she was crying and all that, but she kind of enabled him. So, you know, her other son passed away. He was the only child then. So I think she kind of like, you know, that's my baby, and I'm going to do whatever I can. And then she got into,
people take advantage of senior citizens all the time, right? And I just think that she was at an age where she could completely be taken advantage of. I don't hold her responsible. I really don't. Like, you can hear how she's talking, right? She's making this GoFundMe video. She's talking about how the sheriff came, they wanted their money, or they're going to take their furniture. And then she starts talking about this woman down in Florida. Everything she's saying is what we've heard Joe say over and over again. We know that he told her what to say in this video. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
There's no doubt about it. And she's also wearing a big cat shirt, which I thought was a nice touch. So it was very upsetting to me watching them be hurt by this. I really did not like that. We see Chelsea Putnam, that's Joe's niece again. She said she went down to get copies of deeds, and she saw her grandma's name like on them, and she said, "Grandma, did you know that all your names were on all of these?" And the mom would say, "Well, Joe just told me to sign the papers. He would just put them in front of me to sign." So I just don't even think she thought about it. And that
poor
really,
lady.
oh, it just kills me. And really, I hold Joe responsible. Joe is the one that put her in this position. Joe's the one that took money from her always. Joe is to blame.
Yeah.
He is. Do I think Carol should have gone after his parents for judgment? No, absolutely not.
But
Absolutely not.
But if all that stuff was in her name, of course I think they'll have to. They have to go over the legal owner of the assets that they want to, take.
But that's the point I'm making is that
she should have dropped the case then, right? If she's like, oh shit.
She should have said, "Oh, these are your parents. I'm not asking them for money."
Right. I got you. Yeah.
Oh, these people work at the zoo. I'm not suing them. Right? But she didn't make a statement with winning. She wanted money when she doesn't even need the money.
Yeah. It's sickening.
It really upset me. So to make money, because Joe is so screwed financially.
Oh God, I hate this part too.
I know.
Part is so horrible. I was crying. I can't handle it.
Yeah, that's me with senior citizens. Okay. Just, oh my God. He had to breed to make money. So we see a tiger in labor. They're filming it, and you hear someone saying, "We'll film her ass. We'll film her ass," while she's like pushing out these cubs. It really is disturbing. You see them being like pushed through the fence, like being pulled through the fence to see if they were female or male. I did not like that. It was just awful. It was awful. So then you see the cubs in like a playpen, and they're like all screaming and crying, and he's like annoyed with them. It's just, I feel so bad. But this was how he was making his money, right? Because we find out it takes $60,000 to $70,000 a month just to feed them. $60,000 to $70,000, which I feel like that's how much we spend at my house right now on food.
Amen.
OMG. My Bubba is 260 pounds, and he has hollow leg syndrome, right? He eats and eats and eats and eats and eats, and he never feels full or satisfied, which is my idea of hell.
That's like my ongoing everyday problem. And I'm just like, can you like guzzle a cup, like a glass of water, and then come to me in half an hour and tell me if you're still really hungry? Like, I can't even believe that after like 2 big double cheeseburgers that I made, you're still hungry. I cannot fathom that.
Yes, it's
like,
constant.
Yeah.
I don't know how they eat that much and not get sick, like physically ill.
Skinny we'd be if we had that metabolism. You know how
It's
skinny we'd be? I know. Like, what the fuck?
Oh my gosh. So they're saying, like, at the zoo, and it's really sad that they don't have enough meat to feed these tigers. These tigers are starving, right? You see Eric being very frustrated. All he wants to do is feed these animals, and they have no food. Like, they are not feeding them nearly what they need to be getting. So that is very upsetting.
Yeah, and they totally depended on that Walmart truck. And he's like,
Mhm.
yeah, the Walmart truck hasn't been good lately. And it's just like, really, you guys don't have an alternative to the Walmart truck?
It
Really?
just, and then it takes me back to like, Carol is all about protecting animals, right?
Yeah.
But because of her actions and her going after money, it's causing these animals to starve. We know, and she knows, that nobody is going to buy these grown-up tigers, right?
Mm,
She
right.
knows it's not like Joe can just say, well, I'm going to sell all these tigers, right? He
Right.
has these tigers. They need to be fed. She knows he doesn't have the money to do it. She knows they're not eating like they should. She knows that.
Mhm.
Okay. Anyway, so so then we hear from Joe. He's saying he had like a mediation with Howard, right? He's on the phone with Howard. They've decided to settle, like make a deal, which
Mhm.
I'm sure was very difficult for Joe to do.
Mhm.
He said, you know, the zoo is basically closed down during wintertime, which makes sense. He doesn't bring in money during that time, right?
Mhm.
So what if we did like seasonal payments, right? So they're working this out. They are working
Right.
this out.
Right.
And then Carol gets on the phone, and Carol said she wants his parents' house as collateral.
What a
And
bitch.
I just think how selfish and mean and nasty is that. We know she doesn't need the money. We know she's doing it to be petty. And it's affecting his parents who are elderly. So
Right.
I just think that's awful.
Mhm.
And Joe, we see Joe, he's talking and he's crying, right? And he says, it's a cold day in hell before you beat me, like talking about Carol. He's just very upset. He's a mess, right? So we go
Right.
from this very dramatic, sad situation to then all of a sudden we see this white Hummer come out
This
of
really,
nowhere. We're like,
this really cool music. This really cool,
yeah,
like pimped out music, you know?
yeah, it was very pimped out, Tina.
The
Then
music.
yeah, like this fancy white Hummer is, you know, coming through the zoo. And then we hear like, and then Jeff Lowe shows up in 2015.
Yes.
And he was there to save the zoo. And we started calling him the Godfather, right? Like, what? You see him walking, you see Jeff Lowe walking, and you just think, ew, what a douchebag.
Capital D with a capital motherfucking D.
If you went
This
on
is
a
so
date
funny.
with that guy, I would be like, I went on a date with a douche Canoe tonight, and
Okay,
I will
so
never talk to him again.
let's talk about his outfit. So I think he might be bald, which is okay,
Yeah,
but
bald is fine.
right, but he's not owning up to it. So he has a bandana, and then he has a hat, and then he has his Oakleys maybe like up on the bill of the hat just to look cool. Like he can't like flip them down over the bill like to put them on. Like they're up there as decoration. He's wearing ripped jeans, leather boots. He has a t-shirt. Then he has a zipper shirt, and then he has a leather jacket on top of that. A belt with a belt buckle, and then he has like a walkie-talkie hanging off the edge. I don't think it was a cell phone. I think it was a walkie-talkie. I don't know if Lauren had the other walkie-talkie or what the walkie-talkie was about, but I was like, wow, yeah, D with a douche with a capital D, man.
And he's wearing like these very expensive douche bag pants and shirt that douche bags wore like what 20 years ago.
That's what
Yeah.
it's like when a skater gets dressed up. That's what he's wearing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So he's a character, which there's lots of characters in this. And they were like, you know, is he rich? Like, who is this guy? Saf said, I was told he was a new investor in the zoo. And that he had 14 cats that he needed homes for. Where are the cats right now, honey? That's what I was thinking. Where are they at right now?
Mm-hmm.
Where are he holding them cats? So I guess his grandfather owned Robbins Brothers Circus. So I guess there's other brothers circuses. Lots of brothers got together at certain points and started circuses. And one of them was started by his grandfather. He said that he had like 100 elephants at one time, something like that. Just so they're like royal carnies.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. So I still wouldn't want to be part of that royal family. That's what.
But he's so well known. Come on. You don't know about the Robbins Bros? Come on.
Royal carnies.
Royal.
Okay, so at 16, that's when Jeff got his first big cat, right? We always learn, how do people get into this big cat world? He was 16. He was a businessman. Business in what? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what his business was.
That's his title when they put his name on the screen. Businessman.
Right.
That's hilarious.
Businessman, player, douche canoe, royal carny, prince of the carnies. So he drives a Ferrari. They say that he has a jet. He goes to Vegas a lot and then back to Wynnewood. Like he's like going and doing whatever he wants. And then we learn, of course, him and his wife, Lauren, are swingers.
Right.
Duh. Hello.
Why wouldn't they be?
Why wouldn't they be? It seems like everyone in this is a swinger. They would bring cubs to Vegas, right? And they said that it was good bait, which I thought was hilarious. It was good bait for hot chicks to, give them some attention, which that's sad. You have to use like a tiger cub to get some loving, you sad sack.
Yeah.
They would put cubs in a Louis Vuitton and walk through the casino, and then go up to the hotel room, take pics with hot chicks, and that's like a way that they made, money.
Right.
So what's his famous quote? His famous quote is, "So a little pussy gets you lots of pussy."
Oh my God. You know what?
Damn.
I take it back. Not a douchebag. What a nice guy.
Yeah. Right.
So gross. And then Lauren's like,
Yeah, you're right. Oh, you're so funny, honey.
You're so right.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
So Joe and Travis, remember Travis, one of the husbands, they go and visit Jeff at his mansion. Jeff gives all the weed he can to Travis, so Travis is happy, takes them out, wines, dines, and 69s them basically.
Right. For
Right.
sure.
And
a while.
Right. And then Joe basically bows down to Jeff. He just thinks Jeff is the best thing since sliced bread. And we really never see Joe do that with anybody. He doesn't think anyone's great except for himself.
Yeah.
But he thinks Jeff is the bee's knees.
Well,
right?
in those interviews that I told you guys about with David Spade, when he talks to Jeff and Lauren Lowe, you get to hear their side of that situation, of what exactly happened at that time.
Oh man.
And it'll be wackadoodle. Just wait till you watch.
I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Okay. So then Jeff is listening to what was supposed to be a private call with Joe and his lawyers on the phone, right? Joe asked people to leave the room. He has this call with his lawyers. It's on speakerphone, and Jeff is listening. And Joe is like, okay, I can, pay $5,000 a month for these payments, right? They're trying to make a deal. And Carol, or the mediator lawyer, right? One of them is like, no, we want that $5,000 a month. We want you to stop breeding. We want you to stop cub petting. And Joe is like, how do you think I'm going to make the $5,000 a month to pay you? Those are the things I do to pay you, right? Obviously, I won't be able to pay you then. And Jeff said he just had enough of it and got on the call. And Jeff says, on the call, you know what? When I woke up this morning, it was a free fucking country, and it still is. I'm going to be on this call because the mediator is asking him to get off the call.
Right.
And basically, he says to Howard, and I love that Howard is talking about what he said to him on the call. He said, Howard, you can go fuck yourself and fuck your C-word wife.
See you next Tuesday. Timo's favorite word of all time.
Red's least favorite word of all time.
Oh my God, I
like
love
it.
the word. I love it. And I love it that Jeff said it, of course, but that Howard had to say it on camera. It was
Howard had to repeat what he said. Howard, go fuck yourself and your C-word wife.
Yes.
So Joe owed $40,000 to $50,000 to his own attorneys, right? And I guess these attorneys were about to like fucking quit on him, right? Hadn't gotten paid, obviously. They were about done. And so they came to an agreement with the lawyers. Okay, we'll take $35,000, right? Which is less than what you owe. And Jeff wrote a check for $35,000.
Right.
Okay. So he paid off these lawyers. Then Jeff and Joe decide that they should dissolve GW Zoo, which is Joe's Zoo, but then open it back up in Jeff's name. And then Carol would have to restart all of her litigation all over again. It'd be a fucking nightmare for her, that's a bonus, right? We love that. And then you see Jeff and Joe talking about on their internet show, or Joe's internet show, about how there's a $10,000 reward, for her arrest. She doesn't have to be convicted, just arrested for something, like come up with information. So that's like shadiness. We have Doc who comes on and he's like, I know stuff about Jeff, but I'm not going to say. That's none of my business. Right?
Smart.
And Doc
See, he's
is saying
smart.
that.
Yeah, he's smart. He's like, fuck that shit. I'm not getting involved at all with that shit.
Doc is the smartest one out of everybody.
Right.
Because he's getting what he wants 100%.
Yeah.
And I mean 100% of the time.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So then Joe's like, and then shit hit the fan. Right? He found out the mansion was rented. The Ferrari was behind in payments. Like, this guy isn't what I thought. Well, I mean, did he see his outfit? Okay. Hello.
Yep.
Any chick would have been like, I don't think so, honey. Okay.
We had all those hotties in Vegas. Ugh.
Oh my God.
They got to see a kitty, like take some picture of that little baby kitty, and then they had to go and yeah.
Those girls left that room going, what a douchebag.
I know.
Oh
right?
Right.
Yes. Okay, so then Joe's like, as soon as he got the zoo, the evil came out, right? We see a video of Jeff, he's like holding down this tiger.
God.
I think it was like, attacking him.
Uh-huh.
He was like holding it down. I don't know if he like tried to hit him or not.
It was like a sudden thing.
It was really fast. He was holding him down. He tells Lauren to get out of the cage. Lauren, get out of here. Which I was surprised. He seems to hate Lauren. And then someone comes over with the hose to spray the cat so Jeff can get out of there. I think if Jeff was killed by that cat, the cat would eat Jeff and be like, I don't like Douche. Okay. And then we hear from this one chick, and she's like, yeah, and then Jeff Lowe stole the zoo.
Right.
All done. That's how we ended it. What? Jeff stole the zoo? Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love this episode.
Like, really fucked up. Like, if you're Joe, like, what? How?
You feel bad for Joe, but
You
Joe
do.
Mm-hmm.
So many times I feel bad for Joe.
Joe did things he should not have done.
Right.
Carol did things she should not have done.
Right.
right? They're both naughty, naughty kids. They both should have been put in their place and put in timeout a long time ago. So I think they're both naughty. I think Jeff is grody gross, right? And I think we should talk to Lauren and see, you know, what happened with her dad. How did we get here?
Those daddy issues run deep.
Yeah.
I think so. I think so. So lots of carnies in this one.
Yeah. You know, it kept me entertained though. Yeah, it was very entertaining. You get to meet some new characters, and you know, get to see what this, you know.
Look, I love everything about Tiger King through and through.
Right.
When we are doing these episodes and we have to watch it over and over again and take notes, right?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. It's great.
I
love it. And it takes hours to do.
Right.
So, I always just, it's great. I love it. I love that we get to talk about it and have fun with it because, you know, things aren't always so fun during the week. We all work full time and have families and life crap. This is great. I love it. I really do.
You know, my husband was not watching it. He was like, yeah, you know, like, I'm not into it.
No!
Like, I don't feel like I could get into it. And so, like, I start watching the show to make notes. And, like, I'm pausing and cracking up and, like, laughing my ass off. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding? Did you hear what they said? And he's
so
like,
great.
You know, maybe I should start watching it. So he's on episode 3.
Yay!
So funny.
He's catching up.
I'll take it. If he's the only one that starts watching it,
I know. Yes.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So I want everyone to like tune in Tuesdays, right? For we're covering Tiger King right now, but Tuesdays will be our true crime and paranormal days, right? And then Thursdays we're going to be doing conspiracy theories, right? So we're talking about lots of fun, different avenues, which I love. I'm a Sagittarius. I get bored easily. I like to talk about different things all the time. Trey is too. She knows what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, my coworkers, I feel
to-
so sorry for them because, like, we could both be working, like, all 4 of us were working, and I'm like, so guys, like, we're busy as fuck, but I can't stand the silence. I need communication. And so they're, like, happily working, getting their jobs done, and I'm like, so, did you guys watch da-da-da-da? Are you guys watching that? Are you guys watching that? Like, talk to me. I can't do this. A funny story. My son just started working this past week. He just started working for my brother-in-law. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And he is just like me through and through. So my brother-in-law calls me day 1 and he was like, oh my God, Andrea, this kid is like you 100%. Like, he's sitting there working his butt off, you know, and the guy next to him is doing the same thing, super quiet. And he's like, hey, so, you know, what do you like to do? Do you like sports? Like, do you play video games? What do you do?
Yes.
Like 20-something.
Absolutely.
15-year-old. And
I
think
can
Rachel
see
has,
that.
like, way more to talk about than this other guy did, you know?
I'm the same way at work, right? I work from home, but we have Skype, right? I work very hard. I always do very well, but I am like conversation with everybody all the time because that's just how I am, right?
Yeah.
I want to get to know you. Tell me your life story. I just met you 5 minutes ago, kind of person. And my hubby always gets so uncomfortable when I'm like that, when I first meet someone, but I think he's better about it now. Like, I'm like, I just need to know what hurt them and made them who they are. Yes, I met, you know, learn their name 5 seconds ago, but I also need to know all these things. That's just who I am, right? That's just how it is. But I love these episodes. I like doing our conspiracy theories with Rock. He's so just easygoing about everything. Just so nice. And I think we should give a shout out to his special lady friend, his wife, who is very good about him talking to 3 obviously hot chicks.
Right.
Once a week. So I really appreciate her.
Well, we obviously have a special relationship with her. We all know her from, so she knows who we are. So, you know.
We love her.
We love her.
And we want everyone to, you know, check out Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. What's the website?
It's handcuffsandsagepodcast.com.
Okay,
Check
and
out
then
our Patreon, please.
right, check out our Patreon. I'm going to be putting some goodies together for our Patreon users right now, so you don't want to miss out on that. And then we want to do send us messages at what's our email?
handcuffsandsage@gmail.com.
Yes. And we wanted to put together something where, if you could listen to some episodes, give us feedback. If you're interested in doing that, we'll send you like a gift card to something, right? We need to know, like, what do you like? What drives you nuts?
And in this new normal now that we have going, where we have to do our podcast and we have to do, use all this technology, and we're using Zoom now. Zoom isn't actually perfect for us because there's a lot of interference and stuff, but we're dealing with it. But we would love to invite you on to, we'll give you a shout out. You can join our Zoom for a little bit. We'd love that too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So show us love. It means a lot to us, right? We put in time to do this every week. And even though we love it, it's always good to hear like, oh, somebody else is really enjoying it. And when we get those messages, oh my gosh, it makes my day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Okay. All right. Are we all set?
We're set.
Let's do it.
Yay! Okay, let's see if we can do it all together.
Yeah, someone could count us down. And then,
remember.
Okay.
And remember, we do
what we want.
Closer and
that was better.
We're
a little bit on a delay, I think, but it's okay.
What?
Yeah.
There's a delay? What? Yeah.
No way.
Yep. All right, everyone have a wonderful day. My Australian guests always say, stay safe, be kind. And that's what I want all for you. Yes?
Oh, so
Yay! That's sweet.
Stay safe and be kind.
All right.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Love you.
Love you. Bye. Handcuffs and Sage is hosted by Red, Timo, and Dre in a shitty guest room in Los Angeles.
Theme music is Leave Now by We Are Wasted. Cover art done by Megan Winchester. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Show us some love on iTunes. Be a badass and do what you want. Until next time.